Hello, and welcome to another bonus story reading from White Album 2. This one is translated to The Idol Who Forgot How to Sing. Now, this is a recurring theme in a lot of different WA2 works. It's been used in doujins, it's been used as titles of various stories, but this one specifically was the one which has been used in the PlayStation 3 version of White Album 2. After you read through Twinkle Snow, it unlocks this bonus story. This was written by Fumiaki Maruto, the official writer of White Album 2, so you know you are getting a canon story. This one takes place in between introductory chapter and closing chapter, just to give you a rough idea of where this is happening. So, let's go ahead and start with the prologue. She had been the center of attention since the entrance ceremony. That spring, for the boys who had overcome various obstacles and happily entered the politics and economics department at Hojo University, the existence of this idol-like girl in the same classroom with them, who possessed beauty, charm, and a certain other special something all at once, gave them inflated hopes for their university life to come. Those ones who knew only of the legend of the high school festival. Those current male students who welcomed her in as their junior, got excited every time they passed her on campus, following her with their eyes, pointing, thrilling in the closeness of their proximity, and engaging in enthusiastic gossip. And the contingent who moved up with her after high school, her former classmates, who were once again going to be learning in the same school building as she was, thanked God for their good fortune. But at the same time, they felt some unease, seeing her in her idol element again, giving the same friendly smile to everyone, as though they had jumped back a year. Wasn't she supposed to be dating him? She was Setsuna Ogiso, Miss Hojo High for 3 consecutive years, and, to just a few hundred people, a legendary songstress. So right away, this prologue really puts in perspective where we are in terms of society's way of looking at Setsuna. One of her biggest hang-ups through high school is that everybody looked at her as more than she was. Everyone looked up to her and expected her to be this high school idol. Now, my personal thoughts on the matter, honestly, is just get over it and be who you want to be. But I know to a high schooler, that's a lot harder to kind of do. It's easy to say, it's difficult to do. So Setsuna is unfortunately in the same exact situation she used to be. She is put on a pedestal. She has to kind of maintain her idol self. And so right away, we know that nothing there has changed, although she's graduated high school. So it's a good prologue to kind of tell us where we are. So let's continue on to chapter 1. The song, 1 year later. Sorry, I'm in a hurry right now. Come on, don't say that. Just think it over, okay, Ogiso-chan? Ogiso-chan. Ugh, that puts a bad taste in my mouth. The 4th block lecture had just ended, and the classroom was filled with the noise of the students who had finally been freed of their business for the day. Amid the atmosphere of relief, Setsuna had pushed through the crowd of people in an attempt to leave the classroom quickly, but now she was stuck, unable to escape the male student who had stopped her. But there's only a week left until the festival. Like I said, just 1 song. You'd only have to rehearse 2 or 3 times for that? I'm not capable enough to get ready in that short of a time. Which, as we know, is a complete lie. Not that she should have to listen to this guy, but that is a lie. She responded with the same smile she always gave when a guy got pushy with her. Head tilted, slightly troubled, and yet putting off a certain glamorous air. Really, she was frantically impatient, having caught sight of him heading out of the classroom immediately. But she didn't show one shred of that. It's fine. If you'll pick the song, then we can put it together. No, I don't want to make anyone have to deal with that. I'm sorry. And once more, she took a pose of humbly declining, smiling meekly while lightly shaking both hands. It's too bad that she has to do this, but again, we can see her putting on airs for other people. She doesn't just say, no, I don't want to do that. She's really, really trying to be as kind as possible and maintain her idol-like status. It was approaching half a year since she had entered college, but Setsuna had almost never let this expression drop, which was proof that the stream of guys who came after her at all times, in all sorts of places, for countless reasons, had yet to cease. But additionally, it was proof that she had gone the past half a year without ever showing what she was actually like. Which, again, I know it's easier said than done. Going into university was the chance for her to change, right? Yes, she had a reputation. Yes, there's a few hundred students who saw her and were her classmates, but people change when they enter university. This was her chance to be herself, but she didn't do it. Yeah, it's hard, but come on. This would have been the perfect chance. Hey, what about White Album, like you did at the festival last year? Huh? But right after this was said, Setsuna's voice cracked, and it was as though a split had formed in her usual friendly, modest manner. Or Sound of Destiny would be fine too. We could play either of those. I saw that show, actually. I skipped out on our booth here and walked over to the high school. Oh, I see. The fissure was spreading to her vague smile as well. Not just her voice, but the guy talking to her, engrossed as he was in trying to win her over, didn't notice. Of course he didn't. College guys are dumb. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to any college guy listening. College girls are dumb too, to be fair. Though personally, I'd want you to sing that song. That song? Yeah, the last one you did. The original one. Oh, that. Which is why, at that moment, he similarly failed to notice that her entire mask had split in two and clattered to the ground. All right, that's enough. Acting this friendly with a girl you don't even know is just gonna make her hate you, senpai. I'm not interested in hearing that from you, Izuka. Yep, I know how you feel. I was just thinking the same thing. I'm not interested in hearing that from you, Io. Aw, Take and Io to the rescue. So cute, I love them. But in that instant, a pair who knew her very well stepped in to intervene, so that, in the end, he never noticed the complete change that had come over her. Takeya-kun, Io, I'm sorry you keep having to do this for me. But it is good that she has friends that have her back. That's very important. But making your friends cover up for you to prevent your true self from being found out, God forbid, is kind of annoying. Honestly, be yourself. A few minutes later, at a table in a cafe near the politics and economics department, the very first thing Setsuna did was thank her two friends for stopping the guy, and Setsuna herself from doing anything rash. God, though, your popularity hasn't gone down at all. I mean, not that I envy you. What a drag. As she let her iced coffee slip easily down her throat, Io Mizusawa let Setsuna's apology slip easily past her ears in her usual way. Her blunt, open manner, which put most guys to shame and perfectly suited her short hair and high-spirited appearance, had not changed one bit since their high school days. And again, Io is always referred to as being hyper-masculine. I really don't think she is. But in Japanese society, especially politeness in girls is very highly valued. And so anyone who is blunt, kind of like how people in America speak, in my opinion, not a bad thing. It's just more direct. People who speak directly are very easy to talk to, and I very much prefer it. But in Japan's case, they view that as boyishness. Sheesh, this is the 5th one, right? Half the bands participating come to you with offers now. as he added milk to his black tea, Takeya Izuka remarked in admiration and amazement upon Setsuna Ogiso's still-growing legend, with a much more natural look on his face than he ever showed any other girls. His usual infamy, which perfectly suited his flashy appearance, a slender build that put most girls to shame, unruly light brown hair, had only become more polished since their high school days. What is going on? Seriously. Takeya somewhat has a mask, I guess you would say. He also has a false self that he puts on to impress girls, and I also think that is very immature. But it's college. Nobody knows what they're doing at this point. For Setsuna, whose popularity knew no distinctions between genders or class years, they were two members of the group of four that made up Setsuna's smallest and most precious community. You draw as 3-time Miss Hojo High champion doesn't seem to be declining any. Your draw declining. I don't really make sense of this sentence, but maybe that's just me. I mean, the same goes for how you are on the inside, of course. I mean, you could easily take Miss Hojo University this year if you entered. Oh, no, I would never. Vanity, Setsuna. Huh? Oh, I mean, I wouldn't be entering with the intention to win, so I wouldn't. Yeah, I guess that's permissible. Don't hassle her, Io. She thinks she's being considerate. From any other girl, that sort of modesty might come off badly, but Setsuna at least half believes it's true, tasteless as it is. I feel like you're hassling me too, Takeya-kun. I don't know. All too modest. At least it's not Tomo she's saying it to, because Tomo would just get very angry. There was really nothing she could do about the two of them teasing her, since the fact that, even as she had become a college student, Setsuna's popularity had known no ebb. Shortly after she had entered, a ceaseless stream of solicitations from various clubs began visiting the new student orientation classroom, and within mere days, her name was well known even among the staff. Immediately following Golden Week, when that particular uproar had died down a little, she had been fending off petitions almost daily from the committee for the Miss Hojo University contest happening in June, begging her to participate in the preliminary round. School clubs are very, very important to Japanese culture. And recruiting a school idol, recruiting someone who is immensely popular throughout the entire school, is very, very key to making your club popular. And the more popular your club is, the more funding you're able to get from the school. So it's definitely important to get Setsuna on your side if you are a struggling club. She finally managed to escape participating in the contest preliminaries, but she was only allowed a brief moment to breathe. Now, a struggle was unfolding between the bands that would be participating in the outdoor concert on the first day of summer break, attempting to secure her as a vocalist. And who could blame them, because she's amazing. And now, the battlefield had shifted to the University Festival concert next week, a last-minute scramble to get her to sing. At the same time, rumors were flourishing that the lack of excitement around the Miss Hojo contest finals, which were happening at the same time, were because of Setsuna Ogiso's declaration of abstention. Abstention. There's so many words in this book. I mean, obviously there are. Well, the fact that other girls don't hate her is because it's Setsuna, not like a certain junior of ours. By the way, what's happening with the Taisho tea house that the Politics and Economics Department was planning to put together? It doesn't sound like the Maiko have given up on pulling you two in. That their booth had taken this as its theme was because everyone in the department acknowledged her, or their, achievements, good or bad, at the high school festival last year. Well, her guard is strong enough to avoid being misunderstood. Not like a certain singer who led every one of her band members by the nose. Oh, I see. As soon as you get involved, you look the other way. Nice. I feel like band members were the ones who looked the other way twice, for that matter. I'm so glad you two haven't changed. Cute. Very cute. Take and Io are so chill, like so casual. I feel like any friend group would be happy to have them as part of it. At their exchange, more outright than would normally be expected between a guy and a girl, Setsuna let out a chuckle. To Setsuna, whose network of people had increased since she entered college, these two were still the only ones she allowed to see her like this. Yes, including her own family. That part is sad, because Setsuna is such a family girl. For her to put on airs around even her family is very depressing. And neither have I. Yeah, nothing's changed at all, even if I wanted it to. As a result, it was only around them that this sort of bleak honesty would slip out. That's so awkward. That is so awkward. Oh, apparently you started another part-time job? Really? Yeah, as a cram school teacher for students aiming to go to Hojo University. So, Takea changed the topic, somewhat abruptly. Yeah, pretty abruptly. But the fact that he just says he instead of Haruki really goes to show that everybody knows what's on Setsuna's mind. Wow. I mean, I never would have passed the general exam for this place. Always has to raise the bar, even in his jobs. Why does he love work that much? I know he's got to be spending every spare second preparing for his classes, too. But Io knew. It wasn't a simple subject change, but Takea's way of helping. It's cute. It's nice that they know Setsuna well enough that they know she wants to know, but they know she'll never ask. So they'll just answer her questions without her asking. You know how he always leaves right after the lecture ends these days? Apparently he always gets to the classroom before his students do. Huh. Yes, that does sound like Haruki-kun. Because they both knew, even without seeing the relief on Setsuna's face, how starved she had been for conversation concerning him. How many jobs does he have now? There's also the diner and the corner store, right? There's the net cafe too, so 4. Just nonstop from the evening to the middle of the night. And he never skips a lecture or report and passes every test. When does he even sleep? See, he's legit just crazy busy constantly. It's not like he's avoiding you, Setsuna-chan. I know. Okay. Setsuna. Because they knew that, only a short time earlier, she had been desperately trying to chase after Haruki as he hurried out of the classroom. Poor Setsuna. She's been left behind. Have you talked recently? No, not for the past month. Have you called him, messaged him? Has he sent you anything? No, I mean, neither of us can. As they were in the same year in the same department, the two of them could have met face to face and talked every day. No need for phone calls or messages. That said, as Setsuna couldn't even touch Haruki's address in her phone right now, supposing she were to sit next to him and start talking with him, she honestly didn't know whether she would be able to figure out where to go after that. So, nothing is going anywhere, Setsuna. Are you good with that? Hey, you can't rush her like that. You know that, Io. What Haruki had done half a year ago. Oh, we know what he's done half a year ago. What he, supposedly the straight-laced chairman, had done then had smashed her heart. This girl, who looked like an idol, but really was family-oriented and mischievous. Why not stop then? Stop chasing after him. I just said Haruki's only redeeming feature was his honesty, and he threw that away. What good is he? As his friend, as her friend, as the friend of another who wasn't here, there was no way, no possible way that they could forgive that betrayal. And yet, this is my fault. Setsuna. Setsuna would not allow them to blame Haruki. I cornered Haruki-kun. I pushed Kazusa too far. God, I hate when she blames herself. In what universe is it your fault that you got cheated on? That's so awful. What an awful thought to have. She couldn't allow the one who wasn't here to be treated like she didn't exist. I tore the two of them apart. Yeah, she got in the way of them. That doesn't mean it's her fault she got cheated on, okay? That's bananas. She couldn't allow herself to be forgiven. She lamented the fact that things hadn't changed, but she couldn't allow them to be forgotten. Setsuna was still wandering this labyrinth with no hope of ever breaking out of it. Really, though, you two, thank you for worrying about me when I'm being all indecisive. Well, you're our best friend, right? Sorry. Their kindness actually hurt a tiny bit, because Setsuna had only ever sworn to be best friends with one person. Okay, that's dumb. Don't feel guilty about being good friends with more than one person. Until last year, Io and Takeya had both been set one step below the three of them. But they were still here with her, wrapping her up even in her arrogance. They were still here with her, even now that two people were missing from the three of them. You guys are all I have. They were surpassing friends to Setsuna. All she has. That's so sad. But thank God she has these connections, right? Thank goodness she has her family. She has Takeya. She has Io. It's important when you're going through tough times to have connections and to be able to talk to these people. Well, I guess I'm happy to hear that, but maybe you could see about making some more friends you could be honest with. Yeah, having Io be your only female friend must be a nightmare. There's no telling when you might get infected with her nastiness. Takeya is so funny and cute. And because they were surpassing friends, they knew. What I mean is, your actual personality is great. It's just a waste if you keep faking it. Yeah, there's no telling when you might get infected by her habit of talking to someone with a smile on her face while kicking them under the desk. He deserves it, though. Takeya deserves all the kicks under the desk. They knew that Setsuna wasn't happy. They knew that in order to support her, they had to surpass themselves. If you really opened your heart, Setsuna, you could find more friends you could laugh with and fight with for real. Oh yeah, totally. There are loads of girls who want to be friends with you, Setsuna-chan. No, I couldn't. And not when I hate myself this much. That's such a terrible thing to say about yourself. Even if you're feeling this way, like, my God, this is not conversation to have with casual friends. This is conversation to have with a best friend or a therapist, you know? This is almost like trauma dumping. Like, you don't do this on casual friends. They knew that, even with all of their efforts, they wouldn't be able to bring Setsuna's true smile back to her face. What does everybody like so much about me anyway? I just force a smile all the time. I never go beyond surface level with anyone. I'm a coward and a liar who can't laugh or get angry seriously. I'm like a salesperson. Setsuna had changed. Half a year ago, at that snowy airport, she had been changed to a tragic degree. Yes, that was a traumatic experience. That was a horrible experience. I'm not doubting that at all. But if Haruki had immediately turned around and depended on Setsuna and not distanced himself from Setsuna in university, I really don't think she would be this broken. But the fact that something traumatic happened and it tore her apart from the person she loved and her best friend, that's where it all came crashing down. So, it's a lot of things. If I'd known things would turn out like this, I never would have done that show. Setsuna. And it had meant nothing but unhappiness. To Setsuna and to those in her life. I never would have gone up to the roof. Hey. And yet, as a result of it, never would have listened to White Album. She had become chillingly beautiful. Oh, I don't like that. That's garbage. That's a garbage line. Oh, she went through so much tragedy. Now she's beautiful. Heartbreaking heroine. No. She changed in an awful way. She wilted. Not that she became beautiful. No. She wilted. Do not bring her beauty into this. Setsuna had changed. This look that flickered into her face now and then, tinged with sorrow, held an immense allure. Enough to captivate not only Takaya as a guy, but Io, a girl, as well. It's a weird thing to say. That is absolutely a weird thing to say. These days, she shifted frequently between the idol-like girl and the actress-like woman, toying with others in a way that she herself couldn't control. If people who didn't know what she was actually like were to come in close contact with her in this state, this was the real reason that Setsuna drew even more attention now than she had in high school, in spite of her attempts to blend in, to be forgotten. I'm home. Hey, you're kind of late. When Setsuna opened the living room door, she was greeted by the now familiar sounds of her younger brother Takahiro's laid-back voice and the loud, flashy sound effects of the fighting game he was playing. I love Takahiro. He's honestly one of my favorite characters in the game. He's so chill. He's very protective of his older sister. He's very true to himself. He stumbles once in a while, but in the end, I do think he's very, very true to himself, and that's so important. Earlier this year, he had managed with a mere 2-month spurt to slip easily into the Hojo University-attached high school. Now, as he spent all his time goofing off, that sparkle of effort and talent was nowhere to be seen. Did Mom and Dad go to bed? I think they just headed for bed, yeah. I'll take a bath then. Setsuna? Huh? Just as Setsuna had started to let herself relax, the dark kitchen suddenly became bright, and the pajama-clad figures of her parents appeared. The fact that Setsuna, I get it. You're in their household, you live under their rules, but, she's an adult now. She is legally an adult. You don't have to baby her anymore like her parents do. As she feared before reaching the house, their eyes held a mix of worry, reproach, and relief, and that look was very difficult for her to handle right now. You're awfully late. A bit. Io and Takaya-kun and I went drinking for the first time in a while. Ah, you were with those two. Well, that's... The relief in her mother's face was directed not at Setsuna, but behind herself. It seemed like a gesture that was meant to put somebody else at ease, rather than a sign that she was at ease herself. Wait, Setsuna? Dear. But Setsuna's father kept his stern gaze on her, as though her mother's intention had missed the mark. "I called, didn't I? I said I wouldn't eat any dinner." Under the pressure of that gaze, Setsuna began rattling off her excuses before the questions even came. It was her way of acknowledging that she had made a mistake. Zoinks. "What time is it?" 12:30? In other words, she was well aware that it was past midnight. "When you called your mother this evening, you said you would be home by 9, did you not?" "I was planning on coming straight home after dinner, but we really got caught up in the conversation, and then we started talking about going to get drinks afterward." There was no lie in her excuses. After lectures were over, they moved from the university cafe to a diner. Then, at Io and Takeya's invitation, they wandered from bar to bar until they realized it was time for the last trains. "You should have called us when your plans changed. We've all been very worried." "I just forgot. That's all." That excuse wasn't a lie either. It was the most fun she'd had in a long time. So much that she'd genuinely forgotten what time it was. Maybe Io and Takeya had only invited Setsuna along because they saw how depressed she was and were worried about her. But she believed that they, too, had truly enjoyed the few hours they'd all just spent together. After all, Setsuna had been genuinely enjoying herself. It must have passed to them. "I'll be more careful next time, okay?" "Wait, Setsuna, we're not finished talking." "Good night." Now was the time. Setsuna was determined to end this talk. Partly because she didn't want to deal with the lecture that was inevitably about to unfold, but more than that, she wanted to preserve the pleasant mood she was in. "You're so insensitive, Dad. Try to sympathize a little." As Setsuna cut off the conversation herself and fled down the hall, her brother began his belated efforts to back her up. "The thing about all going for drinks together was obviously just a cover. You know the two of them snuck off to mess around in the middle of it." "Takahiro!" Oh, if only that were true. But it was support in name only. More like a landmine, catching Setsuna equally in the blast. I mean, mentioning Mizusawa-san and Izuka-san, she's clearly using them to hide Kitahara-san's name. Stop it! You're the one hiding crucial information, sis. What are you so embarrassed about? Takahiro, who had not even set down his game controller, was probably less than half focused on this conversation. The way he spoke, however, mixed with careless speculation, set Setsuna's teeth on edge in agitation, and she lost her composure in a flash. "Is that true, Setsuna?" It couldn't possibly be true. She hadn't so much as talked to Haruki for about a month now. Okay, so, this is horrible. What a horrible misconception. Because not only is it not true, it's also really painful for Setsuna, because she can't really defend herself. She can't be like, "I haven't seen him in a month," because then her parents are going to find out that she and Haruki aren't on good terms, and that's going to bring up a bunch of painful questions that she doesn't want to answer. So now she's between a rock and a hard place, and Takahiro, as much as I love him, is definitely playing the part of obnoxious younger brother very, very well here. So on that note, I think we will stop here for now. So thank you so much for being here with me for this chapter of the White Album 2 bonus story, and I'll be back with the next part shortly. Until then, hope you take care. See you.